Today's episode is sponsored by the American Homebrewers Association. Become a part of the U.S.'s largest community of homebrewers for just $48 a year by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA. What exactly do you get with your AHA membership? How about a year-long subscription to Zymergy Magazine, the world's longest-running homebrew magazine? Exclusive deals and discounts at over 2,000 breweries, bars, and bottle shops across America. Discounts on Brewers publication books and merchandise. Access to a huge library of previous HomebrewCon seminars and talks. And early access to purchasing tickets to each year's Great American Beer Festival and Savor. Sign up now by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA and get a year's membership for just $48. And if you sign up now, you'll get a free gift. What's that gift? I'm not saying. You need to go see for yourself. It's pretty great. Support United We Drink, support homebrewing, and support the American Homebrewers Association at unitedwedrink.com/AHA. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a podcast that will never win a National Beer Podcasters Guild award because there isn't a National Beer Podcasters Guild. Welcome to United We Drink right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Also, wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mike Urevich, and I think it's safe to say that this world confuses the living fuck out of me. And I am joined by my two co-hosts. First up is a man whose reputation precedes and follows him, Phil Palmisano.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Just saying.
It can honestly be whichever way you want to take it.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we're not talking about the drinking glove, I'm okay with it.
Noted.
No. Well,
You want to talk about the drinking glove?
No, I don't. Please continue.
All right. Next up is someone who I believe is one of the most genuine, kind, wonderful people I have the honor of knowing, despite what some might say on a certain social network. I give you my friend, my dear friend, Joel Codner.
Well, I was going to thank you for leaving Phil with the reputation comment, and it kind of doubled down on me, so holy shit. Thank you, Mike.
I wanted to be somewhat positive this week.
Did I miss something on Twitter this week? I mean...
No?
All right.
I sent you the screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. All right.
Well, gentlemen, it's nice to be back here talking with you guys about beer and life and other beers. What are we drinking tonight as we get into this episode? Phil?
I started out with our interview this evening drinking a Coppertail and I'm going to butcher this one, Zydeco, yes.
Yep.
I didn't butcher it, yes. I'm so bad with words. Double IPA from Tampa Bay Beer Week. Amazing beers. If any of them are still available, you can find it at Lucan's Liquors. And then I am now on, I don't know why I'm holding the can up to my face, high-low, because 4% alcohol is what I need to follow this 8% double IPA of heaven.
Joel, what about you?
I am very excited about what I'm drinking tonight. I have some hard seltzers. I've got to thank Julie Verratti and Denizens Brewing for sending me this little care package. The Moco Hard Seltzer. The Pina Colada is bomb. The lime is amazing. I think their lime is the best lime seltzer in the game. Really, really good stuff. And now I've also worked my way into some Pilsner Urquell on sale at a certain retailer this week. So, thanks for the golf clap, Phil.
For a second, I thought that was like something wrong with someone's microphone.
And Phil will
soft clapping.
Phil will also be very happy to know that my wife is now a Saison DuPont fan.
Everyone should be.
That's amazing. That's fantastic.
She was like, "Can I have one?" I'm like, "Of course." Like, it's not my fridge. Like, we share everything in there.
Also, another shout out to Julie because their brewery got broken into this weekend, and fucking shitty people be doing shitty things, like broke out a glass window at the front of their brewery and stole stuff. Like,
yeah, apparently all they stole was some booze. From the initial pictures, it looked like the stools had been stolen,
Yeah.
and she had to clarify that no, we already took those down from COVID. It was just some drinks. But still, like, that's seriously one thing that people just absolutely do not fucking need to deal with during, as we say on Twitter, in parentheses, gestures at everything. So, and very cool, empathetic response from her, where it was just like, thank you for all the support. If you want to help us, just, go out there and help your local businesses. Don't worry about us. We'll be good. Just get out there and help those that are struggling. So just a great way to, kind of take the negative and turn it into a positive. So, and I mean, just what an awesome...
She's always such a positive person
for sure.
on Twitter. I respect her a great deal and love following her.
Yep.
Mike, what are you drinking?
I was drinking our High Ridge IPA from Copper Point now, and having it along with some lime LaCroix. But now I've decided to move on. While you went down, I'm going up. I'm drinking rum.
Oh, nice.
I'm having Black Coral double barrel spiced rum from our local distillery, Steel Tie Spirits in West Palm Beach. It is delicious. This is probably one of my favorite rums right now. The spicing is just enough that you get it all. It's not overwhelming, and I can just drink it straight like I am, and I think that it's fantastic. I think that their regular spiced rum is fantastic as well, and like blows away like your Captain Morgan's and Sailor Jerry's and all of that stuff.
And that's up in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, in West Palm Beach in the Warehouse District, like practically right behind Steam Horse Brewing. So if you're ever visiting Steam Horse, pop on over and you can do a little tasting at Steel Tie Spirits. Pick up some bottles of either their rums, their vodka. They have, I think, 4 different rums right now: black, spiced, double barrel, and white. And then they have their vodka as well.
And that would be one hell of a bang to do Steam Horse and then go directly into a distillery. So
Well,
I would probably
actually,
go distillery.
let's
then
go the other way
Steam
around.
Horse.
I would definitely recommend that, because if you buy a bottle right now at Steel Tie, you get a free beer card for over at Steam Horse. So win-win there.
And this podcast is recorded on October 18th, 2020. That deal may not be in existence if you're listening to this in 2 years later, because this is stored forever on the interwebs. So, but good suggestion. Do your bang bangs. And the bang bang
They're
comes
supporting
up again.
your local businesses, like Joel said. Julie was shouting out too.
Yeah, for sure.
And that dark spiced rum is so goddamn good. I know I've been saying this forever, but I need to make Bananas Foster with it, because it already has that kind of built-in caramelly toffee flavor to it. It's just unreal. And I'm not a rum guy at all, but this stuff is next level.
I typically only use it for mixing, like when I want to make a tiki drink, or like dark and stormy, black rum, ginger beer, squeeze of lime is always a go-to for me in certain situations. But holy shit, like they have made me realize that there are some really good just drinking rums out there. Like I like Appleton Estate. Their rum line is quite good, but I'm pretty happy to know that we have right here in our own backyard like a rum distillery that's making some pretty good rums. So we, for this episode, have a really special guest that we're going to get to in a little bit. We're going to talk with Charlie Meers from Magnanimous.
I can say that one.
We're going to talk to Charlie Meers from Magnanimous Brewing. Like, that's probably a more difficult name to say than my last name. And my last name's difficult to say.
And now I know why that brewery name is painted in their tap room, divided at the syllables.
Because it is phonetically
idiots
pronounced.
like you. No.
What are you talking about? I just had a Jai-Lo IPA. So.
Is it like Jai-Lai?
It's similar, Jai-Lia, but you know it's
made in
lower,
Hialeah, right?
Exactly, it's lower in alcohol, so it's a little bit lower.
And according to the second general manager from my last brewery, it's from a brewery called Sig City.
Sig City, I love the Sigs.
He actually, when I wasn't there one day, put whatever beer we had on tap from you guys on the menu, listed it as from Sig City, and wrote in the description, hoppy, choppy flavor.
Did he also put Ybor City, Florida?
Because
that's where they're definitely
I blew a
at.
fucking gasket that day.
Lovely.
Which reminds me of when we had at our previous brewery, Joel, a beer from Cigar City, their Florida Cracker on, and someone comes up and orders a Florida Cracker City, like they mixed up the words to this crazy extent, and I turned around and I looked at the chalkboard and I'm like, did someone write it up there like that? And no, they didn't. That guy just dyslexia or something.
No, because nobody would ever update the chalkboard, which was the easiest goddamn thing to update.
But we digress.
We do. By a lot. All right, so before we talk with Charlie, we are going to talk a little bit. I'm going to do the news. We're going to talk a little bit about GABF. We just had the award ceremony for the 2020 edition of GABF. I believe it is the 137th edition of the festival, give or take a couple years. I might be off there. And everything virtual, and like looking through the list, there's a lot of names that I've never seen before. There's a lot of names that I have seen before. I saw some people doing their whole, like, it's very heavy on Colorado and Oregon and California. All right, we're going to get into that again. Like,
welcome to
every
GABF.
year.
Yeah.
Every
Every
year.
year.
It's Colorado, California, every year. Come on.
And then they complain, like, why aren't more people from Connecticut entering? This is an issue with the Brewers Association. They need to make it easier for, like, like, what the fuck do you want?
It's pretty easy to enter a beer for GABF. You
Does
literally
it cost
fill
money?
it out.
Yes, it does.
Yes, absolutely. But you counter pressure fill some bottles if you're not bottling and you're not utilizing a mobile canner. It really isn't challenging whatsoever.
But I mean,
But we digress.
that's the name of this episode. We digress.
Well, I was Chromecasting it to my TV, and I had to show my wife. I was like, "Look at this! California swept this entire category." And yeah, I mean, it's not an easy competition.
No, I feel like the city of Portland, Oregon, like has so many medals from this particular one, but they also have so many breweries there. It's not like it's a ton of medals going to the same brewery. Like Breakside, they won one. Who I feel like they win one every year, but I mean we got Ex Novo, we got Stormbreaker. There's too many to name. But when I went to the brewery brewpub brewer of the year awards, I was absolutely astonished that I have never heard of a single one of these breweries, and one of them's from Florida. And I've never even heard of Five Branches Brewing. And congratulations to them, by the way, for their silver medal in the Imperial Stout category and winning Very Small Brewing Company of the Year. But, I mean, Three Creeks Brewing Company out of Sisters, Oregon, won Best Brewery. Lost 40 Brewing, Little Rock, Arkansas, Midsize Brewing, Big Alice Brewing, Long Island City, New York, Small Brewing. Like, I've never heard of any of these guys, but like, this is awesome for them. Like, if COVID threw off people from entering and allowed some of these breweries to get a little bit more recognition, I think that that's awesome. And congratulations to everyone who won these awards. There's some great beers that have won, and like I think our favorite brewery or beer, Allagash White, got its well-deserved gold medal.
I agree with you, Mike. I think it's interesting to sort of see the total numbers per category when it comes to entries, for those large categories, the IPAs, the hazy IPAs, the fruited IPAs. Did COVID impact the people or the breweries that were putting in the entries? Were there less entries this year versus other years? But at the end of the day, if this is a silver lining to what we're going through as an industry, is that some smaller breweries that are putting out damn fine beer get some recognition, I think that's a really important thing.
My thing watching the awards was just thinking about the idea that just considering what an absolute fucking dog shit year it's been, and for this to bring such sheer joy and success and happiness to, a select couple hundred brewers and breweries and their staff, during all this, I mean, it just makes me feel really good, like thinking about, how they're celebrating and how they're enjoying it and seeing some light throughout all this. So I'm really happy for everybody that won. I do recall sitting there just being like, I don't know who the hell these people are, with so many of the winners, but that's great. I mean, it's a testament to the, growth of the industry, and it's great to see some unknowns really, picking up some prestigious awards. And, I mean, just like some of the category, I mean, I follow someone who won Imperial Hazy IPA, and they were just like over the moon. It was so cool to just sort of live vicariously through them, watching their tweets and the excitement and everything, they were feeling that night. And it's cool, man. I mean, it's a tough goddamn competition, and it's easy to walk away dejected when you don't get anything, but it's tough, man. And just, I'm so happy for everybody that won and got a little light, out of 2020.
That's really true. And by all means, if I'm coming across as that, saying like, I don't know who any of these people are, being an insult, I apologize, because that's not what I mean. I think that it's awesome that people who have maybe never gotten a chance to be in the spotlight for one reason or another, just because you're not a hype brewery that's putting out whatever at any cost. I think that this is awesome that you have earned something and get to reap the benefits of it and celebrate with your team on winning something that is still a huge deal in this industry.
Yeah, I didn't take your... Good.
I would love to meet or interview someone that actually judged this year versus years past. So if someone was judging, say, in 2019 versus 2020, and how the judging varied this year versus past years because of COVID, and sort of see it as much as we could possibly get either on record for the pod or even off record and, just in person sort of running through what it has to be a grueling task. And it sounds so funny to say, like, oh, it's got to be so bad to sit down and drink 300 different IPAs. But think about the palate fatigue that you would end up getting just off of that. Not you're not ingesting a majority of it by swallowing, but you're still drinking it and trying to scrub your palate and drinking another. And then on top of that, were samples having to be sent out through multiple areas? And I haven't done any research into it, but I'm very curious to see how the protocol for judging this year differed from years past.
So we were actually talking about this on Twitter a few days ago with a friend of the show, Tommy Kelly from Free State Brewing. And he is judged for a number of years, and he judged this year. He drove out to Colorado to do his judging. And we're going to get him on the show sometime soon to talk about how judging goes from previous years to this year. Also, on our next episode, we're going to have Maddie Smooth from New Belgium on, who is, and already dropping that he has been a judge at GABF for a number of years too. We can ask him a little bit about that as well. But yeah, this is something I've always been interested in, is the whole judging thing, and this year even more so. So I absolutely agree, Phil, on your intrigue on that topic. But this was it's one of those the show must go on kind of things with GABF, and it was I guess a way of, like, in a tough, terrible year for a lot of people. We got to still have GABF awards happen. They tried their best to put together that the virtual GABF passport thing. That I don't know how well that went. I give them props for trying on it, but it didn't seem like a thing that could really work out that great to me.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020. One of the three of us probably should have signed up for the virtual beer tasting or beer tour just to sort of see how it was, so that we could go through it. But
I think Joel pointed out on Twitter that there was only like 6 breweries in our state that did it, Joel, and like none of them were around us.
That did the passport thing? Yeah. It was only 6 basically in our, I guess what we would consider
South Florida.
Yeah, kind of southeast region from, Miami-Dade to Palm Beach County. I want to say it was like Nobo Brewing in Boynton Beach, Three Sons in Dania Beach. Honestly, like one I hadn't heard of before in Pompano. I could be wrong. It was just very, very spread out, and I don't really know if it would have been. I mean, nothing against the breweries participating, but being only 6, I don't know if it would have been worth it to anyone locally to do it. And it seemed like the included benefits were, very kind of varied, in the sense where, like, one was like, oh, you get a free 5-ounce pour, and the other one was like, oh, you get some sort of flight or something like that. So it seemed like the requirements were all over the place, and everyone chose a different way to offer something on that passport. But, realistically, nothing's stopping you from going to these breweries anyway, and it seemed like, at least in our region, it wasn't the biggest digital turnout.
Yeah, I think that people, if they're not comfortable to go, this little thing wasn't going to make them comfortable to go to a place. Like, if they're going to their breweries, they're already going to their breweries. It's, again, I commend them for trying something. It to me, missed the mark. And hey, at least you tried. But I mean, the award ceremony still went off, and like I said, a bunch of people got to celebrate making awesome beer and have something to show for probably a lot of ups and downs within this year, and headaches and stress and all of that. So for everyone who took home a medal, I congratulate you, and yeah, like, good job. Good fucking job.
Yeah. Soak it up and enjoy it, because there's not a whole hell of a lot of other things to enjoy about this year. So, I mean, if you want to run naked through the brew house wearing the medal, I mean, fucking do it. Just, enjoy the shit out of it, because
just don't post it online. Anything else that you guys want to talk about as far as GABF?
Well, I was going to say that I did enjoy the fast-paced kind of vibe to the reading of the awards. It went by rather quickly. I mean, we've been there before in the convention center, in that, I mean, I've always likened it to like the Academy Awards of beer, and I feel like I completely don't belong here, but I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here. And, they've got those goddamn tables of like breakfast burritos and shit right outside the hall. And you grab 6 of those goddamn things and some beers. And I mean, what time is it? It's like, isn't it like in the morning?
It's like
for
10
most
in
of
the
country?
morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's amazing.
It's 10 in the morning, I think, there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And, it's fun to sit there in the crowd and watch breweries go absolutely bonkers when their names are called. And it's so fun to kind of live vicariously through them and just watch their sheer joy. I mean, I remember seeing some breweries picking up awards while they're already in line to pick up another award. Like, you'll see that with
winning.
like Firestone Walker and, stuff like that. So that's always cool to see. And obviously no fist bumps with Charlie this year, which will be a sadly missed tradition. But the one dude, I'm terrible with names, but the guy that was announcing awards this year, I was glad he got to, get a taste of an IPA like halfway through it, because he seemed like he needed a lozenge after a minute there. he was getting a little dry, but I liked that it was a little more fast paced. The only thing that made it hard was like to continue the conversation online. Like, it was impossible to live tweet almost because it was going so fast, but still, it was awesome to follow along. It was a nice little bright spot in the year of 2020. And I'm really happy for everyone that got to take something home this year.
Quick shout out to what I believe is the longest named beer to ever win an award, and I'm just going by myself. In the chocolate beer category, silver medal to Old Ball Town Bullet Bourbon Barrel Aged Salted Caramel Dark Chocolate Brownie Milk Stout.
Yep.
From Pivot Brewery in Iowa. That's a mouthful of a name. Congratulations.
Great to see Cherry Busey again. That's one of those.
Oh, that one won?
Yeah, and we've been there live when that beer has won before, and it's great. It's always
Sun
great
King,
when there's something with a cool name, and the whole audience is just uproarious over it, like rock out with my Bach out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Phil, anything else you want to add?
No, GABF week did bring a history to my Facebook page, and I found some photos of you and I 10 years ago, somewhere around there, and it just brought back good memories, so it's always a fun time of year.
Yeah, it was. It definitely is. Anytime you get off the plane in Denver International Airport, that is so far away from Denver, and then you take the ride into the city or out to other reaches of Colorado, good times are to be had.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's all I think we really. Nah, we won't talk about that. That's all we're going to do for the news. Let's get into the interview portion of this show. We are really happy to have Charlie Meers from Magnanimous Brewing Company out of Tampa, Florida, in the Seminole Heights neighborhood, coming on and talking to us. He is a 15-year plus veteran of this industry. He has worked in many different facets of this industry, and he has some great distinction of being able to open a brewery during a pandemic. And it's a very interesting situation and scenario that we're happy to sit down and talk with Charlie about. So we hope that you enjoy this little conversation that we have with Charlie Meers.
How are you doing tonight, Charlie?
Good. Just recovering from eating some Cajun food, but I'm good.
Well, if you have to run away, we completely understand. All of us are fans of the spicy foods. First of all, congratulations, and thank you for joining us. 3 weeks, I think it's been since you guys have opened your doors.
Yep, it's our third Sunday today.
So,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Charlie, we go way back, but what type of crazy do you have to be to try and open up a brewery during a pandemic?
Well, we were trying to open it well before the pandemic, and obviously that didn't work out extremely well. So, and we should have been open right around February or March, I believe, but obviously it didn't work out that well, which is kind of good, kind of bad, I guess, because we would have opened in March and then had to close right back down. That's not the best way to start out. So, but on the same side of that coin, also didn't want to pay for 6 months of rent without having any money coming in. So, but it's been interesting. But luckily for us, the state, COVID completely got cured in Florida a week before we were supposed to open. So it worked out really well.
That has been well documented on our podcast.
Mission accomplished.
And you sort of took my next question, but it seems like opening up a brewery always seems to pose some challenging times, and nothing really ever goes to plan in this industry in general, especially when you look at timelines. And I was wondering if the pandemic actually played to your advantage as you moved into the opening phases of Magnanimous.
Yeah, for this particular situation, it did as we went on, because, obviously everybody had to shut down in March, and then they reopened in June, and they shut back down again in July. Then you had to become a restaurant, which, everybody kind of half-assed for the most part. And then it was 50%, and then it was we were trying to figure out how we were going to do 50%. And then it was like, well, you have 100%. And then we're like, all right, cool. We'll just say we're doing limited capacity. Our building's gigantic. We could do 187 people here. And I never thought that 187 people would show up on our opening weekend. So I don't think, we were more worried about looking like assholes, having a full patio and, having people coming in nuts to butts. But so we kept that mitigated, but it's weird, man. The whole situation was very, very strange for this whole year for everyone.
Yeah, I can imagine. And, my amateur interviewing skills are definitely showing, because I should have asked you first and foremost, explain in your words what Magnanimous Brewing means to you and Mike, your head brewer, or co-owner, I should say. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Myself, Mike, and Austin are the three principal guys behind this. So Magnanimous, to me, it's been a word that I loved the first time I heard it when I was 12. I think I heard it on an episode of Monday Night Raw, if I'm not mistaken, and looked up what it meant. It's like, yeah, that's kind of just the way you should do things. It means, being gracious and generous to, everyone, especially those who are in a less fortunate position than you. And that's kind of that's a lot of what we're going to try to do as we grow as a brewery, be very community based. As a brewery, I think our thing is just make good beer that we like to drink. And hopefully everybody else is on board with that, and it seems like they are here in the beginning. So as long as we don't switch to only Hopfenweiss, we'll be okay.
So, and Tampa is a booming, probably the most popular city in the state of Florida when it comes to breweries per capita, and honestly, possibly even in the Southeast for craft beer. How are you guys going to set yourself apart from the other breweries that are within 2 miles of your actual facility?
Well, for us, we want to do stuff that people drink every day, but also things that people like a lot, that kind of known for. So for us, we wanted to come out of the gate with lagers and IPAs, and obviously the IPA that does really well right now, and the current iteration would be the hazy IPA. So we jumped on that, and Mike makes some pretty badass ones, which has been good for us because people have been digging them. But we're going to have a barrel age program, do a bunch of big stouts and things of that nature. But we want to have a wide swath of what we offer. We got a couple of sours on. We got a porter on right now. We'll have a Martzen next week. So it's, we're not just going to be sitting into this. We're going to have eight of the same thing on all time. We want to have something for everybody when they come in.
Awesome. Yeah, and Mike is an amazing brewer.
He is.
Working with him back Cigar City days, the stuff that he's done over at Coppertail and now with you guys. I'm
He was
super
at
stoked to
CCB?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I met him when he was at 7th.
Yeah, we actually met at Cigar City in 2011. I was manager and he was on the bottling line. And I left to go back home for some family stuff, and that's when he went to the Seventh Son. Had nothing to do with each other, but that's sort of how the timeline went.
Mike's a talented guy, super nice guy. I've known him for, like I said, since 7th Sundays. He's always been a great dude.
Yeah, always churning out good beer. All those employees from 2011 at CCB were good employees.
Yeah, everybody went on to. If you look at that family tree, it's pretty crazy, man. What came of that?
Yeah, in every facet. It's sort of the farm system of Florida craft beer. Even the Southeast. Yeah,
it's those Bill Walsh 49ers is what.
There you go.
2000 Cigar City is.
So you said that you were hoping to open around February, March. So that puts you about 6 months past due, which sounds about right for what people typically say is like take when you think and then add like 3 to 6 months onto it. Yeah. What were some of the big issues that really stood in the way?
So there's a lot of things that our landlords were dragging their feet on some things. So we had to get gas installed to the building. So that was an interesting hurdle. And just your normal, delays that you have with construction, just amplified because there was no one working in the offices for the state and the city. So that took a little bit longer. Things that should have taken, 72 hours would generally take a week and a half. So it's just an amalgamation of stuff that happened all at once.
And the other thing that I was going to ask, I see you guys did a lot of can releases right off the bat. Did you get a canning line right from the start, or are you using mobile?
We're using Ironheart Mobile.
Okay.
But it was something that I wanted to do in the beginning because not a lot of breweries open up with canned offerings. And I wanted to kind of set the tone there and be like, let everybody know that we're always going to have something to go. That's not necessarily a crowler. We're going to do crowlers at some point. We have a machine. We just wanted to kind of see what the flow would be for this first month. But we're always going to have cans. Eventually we want to buy our own canning line. Wasn't necessarily in the budget here at the beginning, but we're using the mobile guys right now.
The decor around the brewery looks amazing, and there seems to be a ton of minor details all around, including the Magnanimous logos behind you on the wall. What's your favorite detail in the brewery, and are there any Easter eggs within the brewery that you and Mike have sort of laid around and Austin have laid around through the opening?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of things in our bathrooms. Some of the pictures. I always tell everybody that if you come here, definitely go use the facilities. There's some cool stuff in there. My favorite detail here is definitely our bar, because that was something that I was very bully on from the beginning, is having a horseshoe bar, and because nobody really has one in the Bay Area at all that I can think of, and definitely not any breweries. And that and our ceiling, and it's kind of hard to even see with a lot of the pictures that people have been posting online. And I haven't even posted them because you can't get the depth of it, but it's this crazy mansard ceiling that was built in the 60s that you just kind of have to see to believe to get the full scope of it. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. If you walk in the brewery in the back, you'll see it. We have, like I said, these guys on the back. That was just something Mike did one day. We just got the stencil and started spray painting the walls. And we got a bunch of stuff like that kind of scattered about.
That's awesome. That building is, I remember driving past that as a child. The building is such a unique shape in where it sits on Florida. It really does. Immediately I saw the outside and I was like, holy shit, that brings me back to childhood. So it's such a cool piece of architecture for Tampa in particular.
Yeah, no, it's one of those, I always noticed it and then never knew anything about it until we were shown it in 2018. And as soon as we walked in, we were like, I didn't know that there was nothing like, I think it was a Salvation Army Worship Center that went out of business in 2012. And I had no idea if there was anything in here or nothing in here or whatever. But it's a pretty rad spot.
How big is it?
It is 7,200 square feet.
Good size. Yeah.
400 square feet.
And what size system did you open with?
We have a 15-barrel 4-vessel system.
Very nice.
Or 3-vessel. I'm sorry. It's a 3-vessel.
Oh, I mean, still, that's...
Yeah. They put the cold liquor tank right next to it, and it throws me off every time.
So a whirlpool separate? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, keeping with the decor questions, who's the guy to the right of the taps? I was looking at some photos online. The guy on the wall?
Yeah, that is great. Michael Jackson from The Beer Hunter.
Is that it?
Yep.
Wow.
That we dressed up as Michael Jackson from Thriller, so it's Michael Jackson.
That's what threw me off, because I'm looking at the Michael Jackson jacket. Like, what is... That's great.
The king of beer, the king of pop.
That's
and,
awesome.
On a musical note, as the podcast's resident hair metal enthusiast, I appreciate the After the Rain IPA with Nelson Hops.
Yeah, that was definitely a Mike thing. We wanted to do a video for that one, like we did with a couple of the first releases. Just didn't have enough time and couldn't find blonde wigs that were long enough.
Well, it's holiday season or Halloween season.
Yeah, you would think, man. It's mostly like green and whatever. I couldn't find anything that like a blonde fro, but that wasn't going to work.
I mean, you could do a Billie Eilish video,
Oh, don't worry.
Probably wouldn't have the same ring. But by the way, speaking of those videos, if you have not seen the Magnanimous videos online, they are absolutely ridiculous. They are amazing. Was that Geiger that was guest appearing in one of them?
That correction, that was Geiger, the star of the show.
I'm sorry.
We're quite certain that he's going to get a Cable Ace Award for that. So yeah, now those are fun to shoot. That's something it's like, don't really see anybody do a lot of that. And it's actually James Kovacs who's one of the bartenders at Cocktail and does a lot of their social media stuff. He recorded all those, and he's super, super talented. His company is Onward Productions. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook, but he does some work for a lot of folks around the Bay Area. Super awesome stuff that he does, and he's remarkably talented.
That's awesome.
Joel, you have?
Yeah, so I had one more question. I just wanted to know, what advice would you give to anyone looking to start, planning or opening a brewery in the hell that is 2020?
Same thing I'd probably tell them before. No matter what you don't know anything. So, I was 15 years into this thing almost before. Yeah, and I'd been approached in 2010 by people that said, if you wanted to open a brewery, and they had a lot of times people approach you about opening a brewery and they don't even know that if you can brew or what your deal is. They just know things about beer. I would you're never going to know everything. Like I think now, I thought Mike and I knew a lot in 2018, and I definitely didn't know very much 2 years ago about this whole process. And I'm interested to see how stupid I think I am in 2025 to the 2020 Charlie. I'm sure that there's a lot of people who have opened up as home brewers, and obviously there's the Ken Grossmans and the Sam Calagiones of the world. I think there's still room for some of that, but I think growing up in the business gives you a whole lot of chutzpah behind what you're doing to get you where you need to go. Because I couldn't imagine not knowing, not having 15 years of experience in my head and trying to get this thing off the ground.
15 years in the industry there's nothing shaking it. By the way, you're an old guy in this industry. I want you to know that at this point in time. Someone called me old in this industry the other day, and I was like, man, I'm really not that old. When I think old, I think Joe Burns, and it just doesn't relate that way to me. In 15 years outside of Magnanimous, you've worked and done almost everything, I think, in this industry. When you look at sort of your tenure, what one position that you have worked in or held within the hospitality and or beer industry prepared you the most for opening up this brewery in 2020?
I would probably say, so it would be a combination of three things from 06 to 2011. Volunteering at Sweetwater and Terrapin and running the beer program at 5 Points Bottle Shop, because that taught me that sleep is kind of cool, but it's not the most valuable thing in the world, and busting your ass will get you exactly where you need to be. And around that time, I was probably working about 60 hours a week, and not really working to me because I just enjoyed it. But you just had to find time to. It's like, when you fall in love with something that you want to do the rest of your life, putting everything that you have into it just sort of overtakes everything. And that's what having those three things kind of happen at the same time over that 5 years. That's what kind of just pushed it in. It taught me more work ethic, I guess, than anything else. It's like, there's not a lot of people get to pick what to do, what they love. And when you can, you should dedicate yourself to it. And learned a lot from that.
Yeah. And I think it was right around that time that you and I initially connected through Cigar City, 2010, I believe it was somewhere around there, 2011, where you were driving down barrels. You were helping the brewery out with barrels, and then eventually you and Joey hooked up, and you were able to come down. And it's interesting and as your friend, I'm super proud of everything that you're doing. So sorry, I gotta, sort of stroke you off a little bit here, but insanely happy to see you do something that you have set your goals out to for such a long time, and to see you work with an amazing team out of the bat, people that are, well respected in the industry. I think it's pretty amazing. I know all the buzz that I was hearing from my employees when my team members and my employees were like, "Oh my God, we got to go to Magnanimous!" It's the opening weekend. So I know people are excited in Tampa. I think that's awesome. I think that speaks true volumes to your person, both you and Mike and Austin, and seeing what you guys have been able to accomplish in just a short 3 weeks. Hey, so far, what is your favorite beer that you've put out?
Um,
What are you drinking now? Actually,
it's
it's really embarrassing if you're not drinking your own beer.
it's our Martzen that we're
Awesome.
releasing Friday. We're just kind of waiting for it to clear up a little bit. But drinking this guy off the tank, it's pretty kick-ass. Mike did a really good job with it. I don't know if he'd ever made a Martzen before. I know as we were trying to finish up work around here, we probably drank about 3 cases of Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest over a week, and fell in love with that thing. And I don't even know if a Martzen was in our plans. We hadn't really talked about it. But I think that was like, yeah, we need to try and make something like that, because this is one of the best ones I've ever had. But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. Juice Lord turned out really great. People responded well to that.
It was the video. The video was it like set the table for that beer.
Yeah, shirtless Charlie sells beer.
Now it does. Hell yeah, you're looking swell, buddy.
Yeah, we're 2 years of not getting paid to drink will get you there. Yeah, it works out real well, and walking everywhere. Yeah, those two are probably my favorite too. Golden Rule's a European lager we do that's friggin' aces as well. So I'm excited about. Yeah, that was always one of the things. Like most breweries, not most breweries, but a lot of breweries open up and everybody gives them some leeway because they're new and whatnot. And we didn't feel like we had time for that. We had to come out swinging, and I think we did. And I'm proud of everything we put out there.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lineup. I've been following you guys on Instagram for a while. Once I first saw that Mike said that he was doing this whole thing, I was like, all right, I'm going to follow him because I think he makes kick-ass beer. And I mean, you're running the gambit on practically everything that is really available. I mean, of course, there's other things out there, but I mean, you're making lagers, you're making IPAs, stouts, sours, all of it right off the bat, and it's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
And the can portion too. Like I said, that's pretty awesome that you guys decided to, because even for doing mobile, like that's a lot of out of pocket money right off the bat to do, and it could be a risk, and it's a risk that you guys obviously felt was worth it, and looks like it's at least paying off by the response.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's it is a risk, but I think the risk is getting a brand identity out there. I think it's a pretty big thing. And that's, these 2 years getting to kind of go around and travel and brew some beer with our friends too. Like we wanted to build a brand while we were building a brewery. Got lucky with a pretty kick-ass logo that's painted all over behind me. A friend of mine that did that for us. So I don't know. I thought that was, kind of come out and I thought that was very important to come out winging in that regard as well.
Well, there takes my question that I was going to ask about the logo. But I have one other thing to ask, and then I'll let these guys say whatever they want. Do you plan on going to distribution at any point, or are you going to try to sell as much out of house as possible? Do you even care about distro, or do you want to stay all in-house?
So just philosophically, I think any brewery should just try and sell everything out of their front door if they can.
I'm with you there.
That's sort of the original idea. Obviously, I think distribution has to be a part of it. We're working on that. It'll pop up December, January. What's going on with that? I'll just frame it as it's sort of like the Supreme Court and their definition of porn. You'll know it when you see it. So we'll let you know what's kind of going on in the next couple of months.
Oh,
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, as long as you can go without dipping your feet into there, I would say more power to you, because you get to control so much more when it's staying within your 4 walls or however many walls you have.
Well, something that I know with Phil and I working with Cigar City so early into their thing, one of the things I learned with that is you're constantly doing this accordion thing where you have too much beer for your tasting room, so you have to put out some in distribution. But then more people find out about it when you're out in distribution, come to the taste room, and then all of a sudden you're out of beer in the tasting room, but you have these accounts that you have to hit. So you're constantly doing this thing. What our strategy is to kind of use distribution as a safety valve in the beginning, and just hit, accounts of our friends and whatnot, and kind of grow it grassroots in that regard, and not get into one of these situations where we're pissing off somebody outside the building, but also pissing off our customers inside the building at the same time.
Yeah.
I think we have a good strategy for that. I said, it'll become very evident probably by the end of December. But we'll see. Cause I know Phil, getting trucks that were supposed to be full and only a quarter full in 2011 probably wasn't the most ideal.
Oh man, I mean, those were such interesting days, and just to sort of see what showed up on the truck was even more entertaining. Because you would end up taking it for the tasting room, and I needed it for my market, and I knew what was being packaged, so I knew what you were taking at the same time. But it's that is such a delicate line to walk when you're looking at tasting room sales versus distribution. And honestly, you add the complexity of finding a distribution partner that understands your outlook on business. Because every distribution partner is going to take it and say, oh, you're the hottest new brewery in Tampa. We want to throw it everywhere. And as long as you have somewhat reins on that, I think you're going to be okay.
But there's an issue. Like, the thing with that is you don't want your beer to be thrown everywhere. And it sucks that you have to enter into an agreement with a distributor to be able to supply like a handful of your friends' accounts. And we can't have true like self-distribution here for stuff like that.
And Charlie, you just walked into an amazing debate here on United We Drink.
Yeah, this is where Phil and I differ a lot of times.
But no, I do believe, the Florida Brewers Guild has been pushing self-distribution for quite some time under X amount of barrelage. Charlie, are you guys a registered member of your state Brewers Guild?
Not yet. We're still looking at that. I mean, we're going to. It's just we're so busy with all this other stuff that it's just been kind of a crazy time with it. And I know Sean has reached out recently, but it'll be one of the, like, when he shows up in the tasting room, it'll probably be when we start talking about it. But it hasn't really, like, we can't do, all the things that, all the benefits that you would get are currently kind of, with the whole COVID thing, it's hard to take advantage of it. So it's like, we're not in any hurry like we would have been if we were in a normal situation, So we're good. We'll do it, but we're just waiting.
We actually just joined for free down here. Sean put out the offer. I don't know if the offer is still valid, but I guess there has been some sort of benefactor with a little bit of financing and was able to, I guess, help some breweries get joined up. So that might be something to look at.
Yeah, sure. I'll reach back. No, he reached out to me on our opening weekend through Facebook, and I think I still have about 36 messages I need to get back on from that weekend. And I apologize for listening to this. Good
timing, Sean.
I mean, you weren't busy or anything. It wasn't like you were unlocking the doors to the general public at any point in time.
I told that, but it's like everybody's busy. So, and I'm kind of hard to catch here because I'm the go boy right now. Because my thing is for the brewery, I handle everything outside the brewery, which we don't have a lot to do for that right now. So I do taste room stuff, and then I go to the bank, and then I go buy stuff. So I'm in and out all day long. So it's sometimes people show up and they're like, "Oh, I thought he was supposed to be here." It's like, no, he's at Home Depot looking for lights to put in the cooler.
Oh, somebody has to do it, right? I mean, no better person than you for the time being. So Charlie, it's sort of wrapping up here. We like to ask all of our interviewees one question before we leave, and that is, what's your late night Taco Bell order?
So this is funny that you asked this. I made a New Year's resolution this year. First time I've ever done one. I wasn't going to eat at a chain restaurant unless it's the state for which it was based in. So, Bojangles, you can definitely eat that in North Carolina. And I did in the Charlotte airport 3 times flying to. That being said, I got really drunk at Oktoberfest last Sunday and banged Hampton Station and Taco Bell. I don't know what I ordered. So, because my girlfriend was manning the ship on that one. I can tell you that it wasn't a potato taco or whatever, it just got canceled, or the Mexican pizza. So that's 2 things I know wasn't on there. It was 2 bags of food. I would assume that had ground beef because everything does there. Cheese, I would assume, was involved, and probably the volcano sauce. So.
And a tortilla, soft or hard, one of those.
Lord willing, there was a tortilla involved in there.
Well, I love the fact that anyone listening to this can just basically utilize their imagination to put together any menu item on the Taco Bell thing that would fit in a bag, not in a box, that probably you ingested after Oktoberfest last week. But nice way to bang something, bud. You never let me down.
Had only I remembered what I ingested the next day, much less right now, I would have loved to have told you.
Oh, well, Charlie, we really appreciate it. Could you, first of all, is there anything that you would like to say to anyone listening to this? Also, please let them know how to follow you as well as the brewery.
Yeah, just follow us at Magnanimous Brewing and Magnanimous Brewing on Facebook and Instagram. You could follow me on Instagram. I don't really post anything interesting. If I see animals doing weird stuff on some of the hikes I do, I post that, but that's few and far between. Like I saw a gopher tortoise in July. Thought that was pretty cool. But that's at Charlie Magnanimous. But yeah, just follow us on those. Be magnanimous anytime you can. Go give blood. They always need it, especially right now. And Phil's always the little spoon.
Well, yes. I mean, those guys are laughing. We haven't talked about that, but yes, I always am. I love that little spoon position. So,
brunches in Key West at Irish bars. It's the best banter you can get.
That was
Irish
hands
Kevin's?
down. Was it Irish? No, it wasn't Irish Kevin's, was it? No, that was off the Ave. It was or off the Vol.
It's not there anymore. The guy who owned it, or the chef, or what, he was a crazy man, and I loved him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy because it was Cigar City.
It was a Cigar City Founders event. That was one of my. That event was amazing. Just to have you and I do nothing but presenting, and you embarrassed me literally every round. And I mean, there's nothing I can say to embarrass you, which is disappointing, because you own it so well.
Yeah, I like to think that I absorb embarrassment and push it out as gamma rays sometimes. It's one of my superpowers.
Well, Charlie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Good luck with everything, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I know that starting a brewery is very time consuming, so thanks for taking some time out of your busy first few weeks. And congratulations again, and good luck. And hopefully we can get up there sometime soon to hang out.
Yes, I am definitely looking forward to trying some hair metal themed beers.
Yes. Thank y'all, and just let me know when you're coming up, and we'll have a beer or 9 at the bar.
Yeah,
9 sounds good right about now. And The three of us are working on trying to put something together for a little tour through Tampa and Sarasota. So,
And crashing on Phil's parents' floor.
like old times,
Yeah.
Little spoons for all. So,
Yes.
thanks, Charlie. Have a good evening.
Awesome. Y'all do the same.
Thanks.
Cheers.
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 All right. We want to thank Charlie once again for joining us on the show. Great conversation, really eye-opening as to what goes into opening up a brewery during these times and just through times in general. Opening up a brewery is not an easy thing. And hopefully we can get up there sometime and have some beers with the whole gang up there. Be nice for me to see Mike again from the brewery. I haven't seen him in probably a couple of years. And just to be able to get out again and go out of town and have some beers with some friends would definitely be a nice thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many good breweries all within that like tiny radius that I feel the three of us should really hit. It just sort of adds to the Calusa trip that we were talking about doing online, and we really could make a weekend out of swinging by Tampa. I could, I know we've done Tampa before, the three of us, but I've always been working, and you guys have been doing a beer festival, and to actually show you guys Tampa and like take you to a lot of the places that I grew up at would be a lot of fun. Within stone's throws distance, you're seeing Seventh Son and Angry Chair, and Cigar City's not too far, and man, just such a great beer scene in that Tampa Bay area. And I wish Mike and Austin and Charlie nothing but the best. I'm so excited for those guys.
Yeah, I still have never been to Seventh's Tampa location. Only still have ever been to the Dunedin spot. So, yeah, I'm all
It's
for...
amazing to see what was a skate rink when I was a kid. Like one of the
Where...
four-wheel skate rinks. I used to go to birthday parties at that facility.
Where Seventh is?
Yeah, it was an old skate rink.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man, and it's funny, like, I talked about it a little bit with Charlie, but I love the fact that some of these breweries are moving outside of like warehouse areas, but even the warehouse areas, you look at like Coppertail. I used to drive by Coppertail every weekend that I was going to my grandmother's house, and it was just a warehouse, but I remember driving by that warehouse, and it on highway, or just off of Highway 60, and it is so amazing to see it. Such good memories tied to areas that I drive by. I can remember driving past Magnanimous. I used to swim when I was a kid, and my mom would drive that way to drop me off to swim practice when I was a kid. And I remember that building because I always thought that building was so unique and cool. It's just awesome. It's really, really cool. It truly brings things full circle.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that we can go do that. All right, so I think it's about time that we can get into some last calls here, and I'm going to start things off here because I was challenged, if you will, on Facebook the other day by Phil for this push-up challenge thing. First off, I'm not doing that shit.
I never expected you to.
And secondly, you do these things every once in a while, these challenges that people put out there, these modern day chain letters, if you will. And of all of them that you could have tagged me in, you could have tagged me in the one where you talked about an album a day. And I would have happily done that to be able to talk about some music that influenced my life. But instead you choose this push-up challenge for a guy who's got to go into a 100-degree brewery every day and actually do like a workout in there. Nah, son, not doing that. So this is my official response. I actually started typing out something to you on Facebook, but I was like, you know what? He says we're going to talk about it on the podcast. So here we are. I'm talking about it on the podcast. I'm not going to do it. I'm happy that you did it. And if you found something positive out of it, awesome. But let me know next time you want to do a thing about music or like a favorite food every day or something like that.
Sounds good. I'll keep you in mind for those. I usually, so the Facebook app is actually uninstalled on my phone. I literally will install it on my phone for whatever challenge I seem to get tagged in. But I did get sort of caught up in that one. It's been good for me. I'm still every day. It's got me back into my routine, which is awesome. But I didn't expect you to do it.
And you did that one for last too.
I did, of
for
course.
For last, we're
yeah,
going to do the guy who's least likely going to do this.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, there's some people that I tagged early on that I was like, first of all, my wife was day one and she did it for one day and then gave up. So, it's I think there's only been, out of 22 people, I want to say there's only been like 6 that I've actually seen follow through with it. Joel's included in the majority of 22 that haven't done it. Yes, I tagged him the day before you. So you had to have known you were coming. I saved the best for last, literally.
I look at Facebook once a day, and that's it. And
there you go.
And I only knew about this because I got tagged. So
I just found out today that he tagged me in that challenge 5 days ago. I just found out today. So I'm kind of thinking like, oh, well, that offer expired. I don't have to do push-ups now.
Never expires.
Phil, why don't you give us your last call?
This past weekend I got to watch a movie with my son and my wife that I forgot how good of a movie it was. And the debate in our house turned on, is The Nightmare Before Christmas a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie? And we went back and forth for about 5-10 minutes. And the next morning I logged online, and my sister, which lives in the Netherlands, saw our conversation. My wife decided to put it out on the interwebs on social media, and my sister texted me in the morning and said, The Nightmare Before Christmas is neither a Christmas or a Halloween movie. It is an everyday movie. The Easter Bunny's included in The Nightmare Before Christmas, so you can watch it at any time of the year. I forgot how good that movie was. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it with my son. It literally was number 1 to number 2 is my son is running around the house singing Phil Collins songs, and I couldn't be prouder of his culture this weekend than ever before. So watch Nightmare Before Christmas. I think it's a Halloween movie disguised as a Christmas movie. That's my personal opinion. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
So you do want us to reply to this?
Yeah, of course.
All right, Joel.
It's an open last call.
So I'll get crucified for this, but I've never seen this fucking movie. It came out just during a very volatile time for me, and I was not into movies and just I was completely detached from all that. But it is being reshown at various Cinemark theaters during this season, and Cinemark is offering like $99 theater buyouts for up to you and 20 people.
I saw that.
I was thinking that this is the perfect movie to finally see in a setting like that. So,
can you choose the movie, or is it specific movies?
So specific movies are part of the whole plan. Like, you can't just pick whatever. Okay. But that's one of those classics they bring back every now and then, and I would happily shell out the money to do that and bring 19 people with me. So, and you can, completely social distance in a setting like that. So, I'm totally down for it.
I'm gonna say that it is it's a Schrodinger's cat type of situation. It is both a Christmas and Halloween movie, and at the same time. So I would just say, to be simple, yes, to both of those. I think that your sister makes a very good point with that, but I think that it contains elements of both holidays very well, that you can kind of just they flow together like that. I don't know if there's any other movie like that that can sew together two very different types of holidays into one so easily. But I would say, yeah, they are both, in my opinion.
Like I said, I've never seen it, but I'm going to vote Halloween movie simply because it is the nightmare before Christmas. People dress up as characters from this movie for Halloween, but not for Christmas.
Joel's already got his take. I think pretty...
Listen, I don't need to know about something to have very strong opinions on it. I mean, that's what the internet is.
This is true. Speaking of very strong opinions, Joel, do you want to give your last call?
Yes.
Good segue.
So I have found a cheat code, if you will, for Twitter. And here's what you do. You follow someone, and then you immediately click turn off retweets. It is an absolute godsend. It is the up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start of social media. And I'm telling you, it's like, okay, yes, you're following someone, and realistically, when you're following them, you should be following everything they're posting because you've chosen to follow them. And some things that they choose to share are retweets. However, it just cleans up your timeline in a way that I can't fully explain. I've started a new account. I'm taking it very slow with following people, and my mental health has never been better as far as social media, because what I've likened it to is before, when I followed like 2,000 something people and had, I think like 4,000 followers, it was like when Detective Kimball walks into the classroom in Kindergarten Cop and everyone's running wild, and there's the kid looking up everybody's skirts, and this other kid is eating everybody's lunches, and kids are just running wild, throwing shit. That's what Twitter was like, with that many people being followed and following me. And now my Twitter is like when I went outside, screamed into the abyss, and then got the ferret out of my car. Why he was keeping the ferret in his car, which is probably not safe. I mean, I know it's Oregon. It's not as hot as Florida, but you probably shouldn't keep a fucking animal in your car like that. But anyway, I digress. It is... I've probably got like a little more than 10% of my original following. I'm following very few people. But man, you turn off those retweets and it's like everything comes to a screeching halt. Your timeline is so much less of a dumpster fire, and it's just better overall. It's like I follow a lot of people I love and respect and care about, but I don't need to see everything from them. And it still doesn't turn off manual retweets, quote tweets, that kind of stuff. I still, for some reason, see things that you've liked that have nothing to do with me, but at least it's a start. And it's a way to tone down the social media and reduce the clutter and help with the mental part of it all. And it doesn't drive you as crazy. So get on there, follow people, and turn off their goddamn retweets.
I learned you can do the same thing on Facebook this week, and it's been like a nightly hobby for me to basically unfollow people. And it's amazing. I can still be your friend, and I genuinely care about you as a friend. I just don't really give a shit what you're talking about politically, one way or the other at this point in time.
Yeah.
And so if I seem less active on that social media platform that I haven't used in the past 2 years, it's probably for the same damn reason.
I told everybody social media was going to be a shit show this year with the election. Nobody wanted to fucking listen, and now here we are. And I'm telling you, like, there are people I completely agree with on a lot of things that I wish would just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I meant you, Mike.
It's amazing how it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's the people that you agree with their same thoughts that you're just like, come on, just get off of it, stop. And sometimes you never want to see somebody talk about something that you don't believe in, although it can spawn really good conversation. But at the same time, it's like sometimes people just take it too far, and it's it just check it off on your 2020 bingo card, right?
I think I filled the card. Like, that's like an ultimate
Nah,
thing,
the card
right?
is never ending. I've learned that this week. The card just doesn't end, and it just, you think it's done, but then you find a new panel, and you're like, oh, I can fill in corners again. So
What is free space in 2020? Just general anguish and misery?
God, I don't know.
A swab up your nose.
No,
That's the free
it's
space.
got to be taxes. Taxes is the only thing that's guaranteed, right?
I guess so.
There it is.
All right.
Your free
Well,
space for 2020.
Joel, you want to plug your new Twitter account or no?
Yeah, I'm at Joel Brews, Joel, Brews, and yeah, that's it.
Phil?
Also, don't forget Egg Symmetry on Instagram, where you can see my OCD firsthand.
You stopped for like a week or two, but I saw you back on it this weekend.
Yeah, I got one in there yesterday or today. Made a couple eggs. There were 2 left out of the 18 pack, nice and safe and sound, right there in the middle.
Phil? Plugs?
You can follow me on Twitter, which apparently I need to use more of, because when I don't follow you guys on Twitter, I completely lose touch with what's going on in the world. By the way, I just followed you, Joel. Dos Pirigos on Twitter, and P Palmisano 77 on Instagram. And you can always follow me on LinkedIn. MySpace is dead.
DED.
Yep, 2020 bingo card. MySpace is dead.
Sorry, Tom.
Tom hasn't been with the company for like 15 years. Probably as long as Charlie's been in the beer industry. But you can follow me at Mike Loves Beer on both Instagram and Twitter, taking it a little bit more leaning towards Instagram. I like pictures and not so much on the words. You can follow the show on Twitter at United We Drink, on Instagram at United We Drink Pod, and our website is unitedwedrink.com. We're also on all of the major podcast networks: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music's new podcast service. We're on all of those, so you can subscribe to the show and get new episodes delivered to the device of your choice every other Thursday at your convenience. Other than that, we will be back here in 2 weeks for a brand new episode where I think I already spilled the beans that we're going to be talking with Matty Smooth from New Belgium Brewing. And other than that, everyone stay safe. Keep wearing masks despite that the pandemic's over. Vote, wash your hands, and cheers.
Enjoy Arby's.
Hail Sutton.
Why are you guys laughing?
I don't know. I have no idea why I was laughing. But yeah. Why are you laughing so much? I'm thoroughly confused at this point in time. I agree with you, Mike. I think if COVID, Jesus Christ, I at least I know I didn't miss something because you're just as confused as I am, Mike.
I don't know what.
I don't
And now we lost Joel.
Yeah.
No, I'm here.
No, he just turned his camera off.